What do teachers do with a student who smells bad? I teach high school English, and there's this junior who sits in the back corner reeking of body odor every single day. I'm talking the kind of smell that hits you the second he walks through the door. Other students would literally hold their breath when passing his desk. Some girls started sitting in the hallway before class just to avoid being near him. I'd tried everything. Opening windows, running the air purifier on max, spraying Febreze when he wasn't looking. Nothing worked. His smell was so bad that during group projects, no one would partner with him, and he'd end up working alone pretending he didn't notice. After 3 weeks of this, I finally pulled him aside after class. I was so nervous because how do you tell a 16-year-old kid he smells without destroying him? I started with the whole, is everything okay at home approach, thinking maybe his family was struggling financially. He looked at me genuinely confused and said, yeah, miss, everything's fine. Why? I awkwardly mentioned that some students had been complaining about a smell in the classroom, and I wanted to make sure he had everything he needed. He cut me off mid-sentence. Miss, that's not me, that's probably my gym bag. I've been meaning to take it home. I felt like the worst person alive. Here I was about to humiliate this kid over his gym bag, but then he walked over to his locker and opened it. The smell that came out almost knocked me backwards. My eyes literally watered. It was like something had died in there. I tried not to react, but he saw my face. He looked embarrassed and said, yeah, it's pretty bad, huh? My washer broke 3 months ago and my mom works 2 jobs, so we haven't had time to get it fixed. I just keep wearing the same stuff because we can't afford the laundromat. Everything clicked. The same hoodie every day. The wrinkled shirts. This wasn't about hygiene. It was about money. I told him to bring everything to my classroom tomorrow morning before school. He asked why, and I said I had an idea. He showed up at 6 a.m. the next day with 2 garbage bags stuffed full of the most disgusting athletic gear I've ever seen in my life. Shorts stiff with dried sweat, socks that could stand up on their own, a jersey that was supposed to be white but was now gray-brown. I threw everything in my car and drove straight to the 24-hour laundromat. Spent the next 2 hours running load after load on the hottest setting with extra detergent. It cost me $40 between the washing, drying, and the industrial strength stain remover I had to buy. By the time first period started, I had everything clean folded and back in those garbage bags. When he walked into class, I handed them to him and said the PTA just started a new program for student athletes who need help with equipment maintenance. It's completely confidential and you qualified. Total lie. There was no program. I just made it up on the spot. He looked inside the bags and saw all his clothes actually clean and folded for the first time in months. His hands started shaking. Then he just started crying right there in front of my desk. Not loud, just tears running down his face while he clutched those garbage bags. I told him anytime he needed to use the program, just let me know. He nodded and whispered, thank you, miss, before heading to his seat. The rest of the class pretended not to notice. 3 days later, there's a knock on my door during planning period. It's his mom still in her scrubs from her morning shift at the hospital. She's holding an envelope and she looks like she's been crying. She handed me the envelope and I opened it. There was $40 cash inside, exact amount I'd spent. I tried to give it back, but she grabbed my hands and said, my son told me what you really did. There's no PTA program, is there? I started to apologize, but she pulled me into a hug. She was shaking. She whispered, thank you for not embarrassing him in front of his classmates. Thank you for treating him like he mattered. I kept the money, and that weekend, I actually did start a real program. Bought a bunch of laundry supplies and set up a system where any student can drop off clothes in my classroom before school. No questions asked. Word spread quietly. Now I've got 6 kids using it regularly. The principal found out and got the PTA to actually fund it. They gave me $500 for supplies. That kid graduated last year with a full ride to college. At graduation, his mom found me in the crowd and said you changed his life that day. He'd been planning to drop out because he couldn't take the bullying anymore.